everyone, and welcome to the Millennial Revolt, an independent political talk show that seeks to bring a different narrative than the stale one we have going on right now in the mainstream media. So today we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, the John Podesta email leaks. And Wikileaks keep releasing more and more, and it's giving us an insight to the inner workings of the Clinton campaign. But this segment is going to mostly be focusing on media collusion. And the reason why I keep talking about it is because there is just so much evidence in the Podesta emails of the media and our mainstream media news networks, as well as our newspapers, working with the Clinton campaign to try to push her campaign forward, to try to basically tip the election in her favor. And the reason why I think this is so important is because journalism is one of the most vital keys in a society that remains a free, open, independent, free-thinking society. And we don't just have manufactured thoughts, and we don't have manufactured opinions, because when you have a situation which is going on right now, is you have newspapers, journalists who are violating their codes of ethics, violating their journalistic integrity to try to help a particular candidate from a political party. And it's extremely disgraceful what's going on, but I'm going to show you guys this email right now. Email entitled Deutsche Bank. This particular email has to do with Hillary Clinton's speech that she made to Deutsche Bank. Now, if you don't know, Deutsche Bank is a German-owned bank. Now, this was sent from Mary Greenwell wrote, "I worry about going down this road. First, the remarks below make it seem like HRC doesn't, and doesn't is capitalized in this email, think the game is rigged. Only that she recognizes that the public thinks so. They are angry, she isn't." So that means that HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton, doesn't think that Wall Street is rigged. Now, how are you going to say that I'm going to regulate Wall Street to protect Main Street if you don't think that there is a problem on Wall Street? You have to at least acknowledge the fact that these people helped crash the economy in 2008. People aren't engaging in selective outrage. People have lost their jobs. They lost their life savings. If you don't believe that these bankers are doing anything wrong, how are you going to initiate policies that are going to help the American people? It goes on to say, second, once you start looking at the speeches, you run smack into Maggie Herman's report from Politico on HRC's Goldman Sachs speech, in which HRC isn't quoted directly, but described as saying, people shouldn't be vilifying Wall Street. It goes on to say, maybe you think the Deutsche Bank speech takes the sting out of the Goldman report, but I am concerned that the passage below will exacerbate, not improve the situation. So people in this email are basically worried that Hillary Clinton can come off as not understanding why there is so much of an outrage of the fraud, waste, and abuse that was engaged on Wall Street. So Brian Fallon responds and goes on to say, reviving this thread because the AP, which is the Associated Press, is working on a story similar to Pat Healy's article in Sunday's NYT, New York Times, about HRC's Wall Street image problem. The reporter, Lisa Lear, plans specifically to note that her paid speeches to banks were closed press affairs and transcripts are not available. She is asking if we wish to characterize her remarks in any way. It goes on to say, I think we could come up with a vanilla characterization that challenges the idea that she sucked up to these folks. So now you have an Associated Press in direct contact with Hillary Clinton about how she's going to frame an article that she's writing about Hillary Clinton and her speeches that she made on Wall Street. She goes on to say, the email goes on to say, but then use AP's raising of this to our advantage to pitch someone to do an exclusive by providing at least the key excerpts from this Deutsche Bank speech. In doing so, we could have the reporting be sourced to a transcript obtained by news outlets, so it's not confirmed, as we are selectively providing one transcript while refusing to share it with others. So in doing so, they're trying to use someone from the AP or whoever they want so they can selectively pick out parts of the Deutsche Bank speech so it doesn't show Hillary Clinton in a bad light. But I think you should let the American people decide that. Let the American people understand. Like, give them all of the facts. People are not stupid. People should be able to decide whether or not that they don't like how close their particular candidate that they are supporting is in bed with Wall Street. You should let them decide that. You shouldn't have the newspapers and people in the Clinton campaign trying to frame an article and frame the narrative of, no, she's standing up to the big banks, when all reality she is not. Now they actually have the speech that she made in this email, and I'm going to leave the link in the description where you can check it out, but I'm going to read you guys one excerpt that I think is one of the most important things in this whole speech. In the speech, she says, now it's important to recognize the vital role the financial markets play in our economy, and that so many of you are contributing to. The function effectively, those markets and the men and women who shape them have to command trust and confidence, because we all rely on the market's transparency and integrity. So even if it may not be 100% true, if the perception is somehow the game is rigged, that should be a problem for all of us, and we have to be willing to make that absolutely clear. So they're saying that, and she's acknowledging the fact that the game may not be rigged, but if the public thinks that the game is rigged, we basically have to acknowledge it and pacify them so we can keep trusting the big banks and the people on Wall Street. And I think that is why they never released any of these transcripts, because this is extremely damaging, in my opinion, to her and her campaign, as someone who's saying her campaign slogan is stronger together. So I think that's just one issue where Hillary Clinton will continue to fail on. So there is an article from The Intercept which shows email leaks reveal Clinton campaign's cozy press relationship. Internal strategy documents and emails among Clinton staffers shed light on the friendly and highly useful relationship between the campaign and various members of the U.S. media. Now, these documents were provided to The Intercept by Guccifer 2.0, who was responsible for the DNC hacks, which resulted in 4 administration officials in the DNC resigning, Debbie Wasserman Schultz among them. Now, the Obama administration on Friday officially came out and claimed that Russia's most senior officials were responsible for hacks, although they provided no evidence for what they were claiming. The internal documents demonstrate a central component of the Clinton campaign strategy in ensuring that journalists they believe are favorable to Clinton are tasked to report the stories the campaign wants to circulate. Now, on January 2015, a strategy document designed to plant stories on Clinton's decision-making process about whether to run for president singled out a reporter named Maggie Haberman, who worked for Politico but is now covering the election for the New York Times as a so-called friendly journalist, who had teed up stories for them in the past and never disappointed them. Nick Merrill, the campaign press secretary, produced the memo according to the document's metadata. So to sum up what the memo says, but I will also have a link in the description where you can look at it yourselves. It says the objective, as media attention increasingly turns to 2016 and Secretary Clinton continues to move towards a decision, we want to be proactive in shaping a public narrative. It says placing a story, as discussed on our call, we are all in agreement that the time is is right place a story with a friendly journalist in the coming days that positions us with a little more transparency while achieving our goals. It says who for something like this, especially in the absence of us teasing things out to the others, we feel that it's important to go with what is safe and what has worked in the past into a publication that will reach industry people for recruitment purposes. So it mentions Maggie Herberman again of Political over the last year. They said they have teed up stories for her and she has never disappointed. It says while we should have a larger conversation in the near future about a broader strategy for re-engaging the beat press and covers HRC, for this we think we can achieve our objective and do the most shaping by going with Maggie. So according to the Intercept article, there were several people such as Hillary Ronson, Donna Brazile, who is now the interim chairperson of the DNC, as well as Center for American Progress President Neera Tanden, who were featured regularly on cable news programs but were paid by the Clinton campaign without any disclosure when they appeared. Several of them are included on a surrogate list, which is basically a list of people who are friendly to the Clinton campaign to help push forth a positive Hillary Clinton message. They actually had a list of people who are named surrogates in this memo, such as people you may know, such as Wolf Blitzer of CNN, Mika Brzezinski of MSNBC, EJ Dion, Ronan Farrow, Chris Hayes of MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, Chris Matthews, MSNBC, Andrea Mitchell, MSNBC, Robin Roberts, Charlie Rose, George Stephanopoulos, ABC, just to name a few of these people who are listed here on the list. So the next email that I'm going to be talking about is about Donna Brazile, and this shows more media collusion because before she became the interim chairperson at the DNC, she was a correspondent on CNN. Now, in this particular email that's entitled From Time to Time, I Get Questions in Advance, she sent this to Jennifer Palmieri, the Clinton campaign's communication director. The email provided a question about the death penalty, and this was sent a day before the Democratic presidential town hall debate between her and Senator Sanders. I'm going to show you guys a particular video that basically demonstrates what's going on in real time.
Since 1976, we've executed 1,414 people in this country. Since 1973, 156 who were convicted have been exonerated from the death row. This gentleman here is one of them. This is Ricky Jackson, wrongfully convicted of murder in 1975. He spent 39 years in prison. He is undecided.
Jake Tapper had an interview at Washington, D.C.'s WMAL radio where he told host Larry O'Connor that the evidence that Brazile leaked debate questions to Hillary Clinton's campaign was journalistically unethical, according to a Breitbart article. He said, "It's horrifying. Journalistically, it's horrifying. And I'm sure it will have an impact on partnering with the organization in the future. Donna Brazile is no longer with CNN because she's with the DNC right now, but I'm sure it will have some impact on Donna." Jake, while he was on the radio station, said that CNN is supposedly taking this very, very seriously. So the next email that we're going to be talking about has to do with Brent Podesta. Now, Brent Podesta is a columnist for the Hill newspaper, and in this email he was talking to John Podesta. He goes on to say it was not uplifting to learn in recent hours that problems with foreign donations to the Clinton Foundation continue. Hillary Clinton was still making paid speeches for hire this week, and Tony Rodham is hustling gold mining deals in Haiti. From the minute the email story broke, I have been out there publicly and unequivocally supporting Hillary Clinton in multiple ways in multiple media, unlike many Democrats and unlike most in the media. My mama taught me long ago that when I am seriously angry, I should count to 10 and choose my words carefully. In that spirit, here's my toned-down advice, which I seriously doubt the Clintons are hearing from those close to them, and if they are hearing it, they are not understanding it. If there is one thing that could bring down Hillary Clinton's candidacy, it is a cycle of money issues about which I am now feeling red alert, loud bells, warning signalings, and red flags, and am now seriously pissed off that there is a real chance that her candidacy in the Democratic Party could be destroyed by the self-centered dangers that continue to plague her the closer she gets to announcing her candidacy. It's just extremely upsetting that you have people in the media who knowingly are engaging in partisan acts and are pushing forward a narrative that's a complete lie. It's just very upsetting to see that a person who is using their platform to push lies, and instead of being objective and just stating the facts, they are being subjective and are putting their party over the country. I'm going to leave you guys with two quotes that I think is extremely relevant given what is going on with our mainstream media. During times of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. And the further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. I'm the Millennial Revolt. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you have a wonderful day. Bye.